we're going to have a look on how to start a session on Pro Tools. Now, a lot of people have some problems, which is once they've opened Pro Tools, they wonder where it is. Now, if that happens, click on the bottom and go to File, Create New. Now, if you create new or Command-N, you'll get the dashboard. Now, the dashboard is where you can control setting up every single session that you do. You can look on your recents or you can look on your projects. I would recommend for now going on Create. So what you do, you start off with a name. So we're going to call this Opening Session. There. Now you have three options here, which is local storage, which will save it as a session on your computer. You can also go to collaboration and cloud backup, which essentially a collaboration is Avid's way of you being able to collaborate online with other musicians, which is really, really cool. You can have two other collaborators with your project and it'll upload it to a cloud session and those people can join in and work. So they can mix your session, they can work with MIDI files and loads of different things. But for now, especially with post-production, generally you just want to keep it as a local storage. And then the third one is create from template. Now, this one is really interesting, but be careful if you're still new to Pro Tools because these templates can be quite complex. Now, I've made my own couple of templates here, but if you look on post-production, you can actually have a look and see what a 5.1 surround mix is like, a stereo mix, stereo with voiceover and M&Es. There's loads of things that you can do. So when you actually start getting into Pro Tools, you can look at these and see what templates are like. So you can see how to sort of arrange your tracks maybe. But for now, I would highly recommend that you just use your own blank session. So what you got here is your file types. So you've got WAV or AIFF. Generally, you're going to be wanting to go for WAV. I can't think of any reason in this day and age why you wouldn't. So I don't use AIFFs. I haven't for a long time. Sample rates, we covered these, and you want to be going for 48 with post-production, 48 kilohertz. You can still go up. You can go, I've got the option for 88.2, 96, 176.4, and 192. I use 96 and 192 for sound design, but generally 99% of the time I've got it on 48. Bit depth, you've got 16-bit, 24-bit, and 32-bit. 24-bit is the standard for post-production at the moment. So 24, 48, 24 bits, 48 kilohertz. I/O settings, you want to be using that as last used. I will be doing another video to explain this, but at the moment, just last used. It stands for in, out. Now, I've got stereo mixes and we've got all of these different things here, but you just use last used. It will set it up for default for you. And then you've got interleaved here, which is a fun little one. Now, that's not that important. It basically means that if you're using a stereo file, especially if you're printing, you can essentially have it interleaved, which is not having it as split mono tracks, which would be a left and a right mono track. It just puts it as one file. So one stereo file instead of two mono files, left and right. Does not compress it. Don't think that interleave compresses it, but you can change this in the settings later, and you can actually change it when you export if you want to bounce. And then the final couple, prompt for location, essentially means that when you create a session, it will ask you where do you want to save it. Or if you're working to a set location, you can set it there. So I'm going to change my location to my YouTube tutorials, and I'm going to put it in the Pro Tools sessions. And I'm going to create a new folder. Opening Pro Tools. And then you can either open it from the disk, which I don't want to open a session, I can create. And once that is done, you have now successfully created a session.